Ark is fighting for its life on Steam, and I take a deep dive into the demon Wildcard has gladly embraced for their Ark Survival Ascended remaster, and this is a topic that is not getting a lot of attention, but should have you concerned. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and welcome back to the channel. Now, before we dive into today's topic, I did want to begin with a thank you. I've only recently started uploading Ark content to my channel, and your response to those uploads has simply been off the charts. I'm not going to go into the actual stats on this one, but it has simply been mind-boggling, and I just wanted to let you know it hasn't gone unnoticed. So, let's kick this one off over on Steam. And I've touched on this platform and some, let's call it, sus happenings that have been going on over there. First off is the fact that no disclosures have been added to the Ark storefront announcing the August arrival of ASA and the sunsetting of certain features within ASE. The standalone version is still sitting there at $19.99, while the Ultimate Survivor Edition, which includes all the DLCs, is still priced at $49.55. I haven't checked the PlayStation stores or Microsoft, but I suspect they are much the same. ASE is still for sale, with no warnings of the impending changes, unless someone has made a comment such as buyer beware, but those posts would have to be read by any potential purchasers to give them the full story before actually pulling the trigger and buying ASE. Also under this header of sus are all the recent positive ratings for ASE on Steam, especially when you look at how many hours the players have and what they are actually posting. Here's one from Volt with 1.7 hours, and the comment is simply, yes. Max the Moose with all of 12.8 hours writes, fun. That's 6 N's, in case you were counting. Mimeo with 34.9 hours just says, nice. Nitwo, who has logged a staggering, listen to this, 0.4 hours. Can't actually decide if the game is fun or not, and basically states their system can't handle the requirements to run the game. Product received for free, and you guessed it, a positive review. And then Nyx, with 144.4 hours, doesn't even give the damn game a comment, but instead posts a pie recipe. Absolutely brilliant. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that Wildcard and Snail are attempting to steer the reviews back to favorable, as they have been sitting at mixed pretty much since April 1st, which is right around the time they announced the delay to Ark 2 and the bundle cost for Ark Survival Ascended. The more bottish positive reviews they can get posted, the better it looks on the Steam storefront, and you get the picture here. Whatever, let's move on. So, the last bit of this one I wanted to dedicate to some statements that I have made in past Ark uploads and from several video comments I've received concerning Ark Survival Ascended shifting over to use Overwolf for their cross-platform mod system. And for the record, in case you guessed it, I do not like this platform, and we'll explain why in just a moment. But first, for anyone out there that doesn't know anything about Overwolf, here's a brief description directly from their corporate website. Overwolf is a development platform that lets creators build, share, and monetize in-game apps. It's the engine that lets apps operate. Overwolf tools let developers bring their apps in-game with overlays, track game events in real time, and make an honest living off their creations. Man, I take exception to the disingenuous way that Overwolf self-describes their work, but for the time being, remember that during the Ark Community Crunch post on March 31st, now premium mods will be monetized, which includes and this is quoting from the article, review by Overwolf and Wildcard for quality control and value. Mod authors will optionally be able to specify price points for their mods, with 50% of the price going to the mod offer. This is necessary to pay for the custom infrastructure required for Overwolf to support, administrate, and deliver mods to the console. Okay, so here's the deal with Overwolf. They are known in the greater gaming landscape as having a reputation for doing shady shit. Proven or not, that stigma surrounds their company and their app. This post from user DreadSurge on the World of Warcraft Blizzard forums is somewhat accurate as to why you should be wary of Overwolf. Quote, TLDR, a company notorious for its ad-riddled client, which recently bought out CurseForge, formerly owned by Twitch, is trying to completely monopolize World of Warcraft add-on management by trying to shut down or otherwise block API access for any of its far more convenient competitors, such as Cursebreaker and WowUp.io, and thus force anyone wanting to update add-ons to install their client. Continuing on, well, Overwolf has had a bit of a history in the larger gaming community for being an extremely shady client. The client itself bombards users with advertisements, there is no way to opt out of said advertisements, and some of said advertisements have had the same issues that Wowhead itself had for many years up until recently. A lot of the ads were straight up malware. And finally, that business model hasn't changed whatsoever. Of course, the ads are still extremely intrusive, there's no way to avoid getting them, and some of them are straight up harmful and or malicious. Except now, if you want the fastest, most convenient way to manage and update your add-ons, you have to go through Overwolf to do it, which means that you have to deal with glorified adware on your system to update your add-ons more reliably. Now, full disclosure here, I don't agree with all the points made by the post. There is some conjecture. That bit about the ads is actually mostly accurate. They even offer a paid version of Overwolf to remove the ads that is known to be buggy and will still include them. But I also wanted to note, I can't confirm the statement accusing them of malware. But what I will say about Overwolf is this, and these are reasons you do not want to use them at all. Number one, their app is known to be bloatware. It installs a ton of non-essential apps that bog down your system. In some instances, actually adding in plugins to the game files, causing significant FPS drops while in game. This example from World of Warships shows an FPS drop from 75 down to 48 to 56 due to the stat tracking plugin installed by Overwolf. And hear this, without consent or confirmation. If you actually attempted to delete the OW plugin folder with the mod, Overwolf would reinstall it back when it launched. And even if you uninstalled Overwolf normally, the mod would remain installed. Now, I've seen complaints about Arc not having decent frame rates, and Overwolf is definitely not going to help that out. Number two is the fact that Overwolf is known to be a straight up resource hog, much more than should be used by an app of this nature. Users have noted Overwolf hogging resources like CPU usage, RAM, and when it launches, as noted by this Reddit post, there were actually 9 Overwolf browser tasks active at once. Now, some chalk up these spikes in resources to allegations that Overwolf is farming customer information or even possibly using your system for things like bit mining. I'm not going to dive into all of that, but I will say this from personal experience. A few years ago, I squatted up with a few online buddies to get in some games, and it was recommended we use Overwolf for some mods and TeamSpeak. Now, from the moment I installed that app onto my PC, which was at the time pretty stout, it immediately lost performance. It felt laggy, it felt less responsive, and when I opened up the task manager, I was shocked to see just how much Overwolf had installed onto my system, how much was running in the background, and how much of my rig's resources were allocated to just this one app. Within minutes of installing Overwolf, I had uninstalled it and cleaned it completely off my PC, and after rebooting, it had returned to its former, more responsive ways. And now point number 3, the final bit to be very careful with, is Overwolf's EULA, or End User Licensing Agreement, because this thing is extraordinarily invasive. Now, I haven't used their products since that previous install, and there are now apparently options to share or not share your info, all of which you should read extremely carefully, because if allowed, you're basically giving Overwolf full access to pretty much everything, carte blanche, which they monitor, store, and then sell to outside organizations to, among other things, target and bombard you with specific ads. Now for me, based on my previous hands-on experience with Overwolf and with all the controversy swirling around the product, I would highly recommend you just steer clear from this thing. I'll link this video first look at the Overwolf add-on manager for World of Warcraft. Is it good? In the video description, because it does make some good points here. Heavy resource hog, extremely sus privacy terms, pressuring its competitors to shut down so it can own the space unchallenged. It all reeks of stuff you don't want to be involved in. Oh, and by the way, Overwolf also has a 1.6 out of 5 stars over on Trustpilot, with basically all the reviews ripping the company for shoddy business models and never responding to concerns. Now, at least from what I found in my limited research into this matter, Arc 2, according to this blog.mod.io article from mid-2022, the mod and UGC, user-generated support, will be handled by mod.io, which, by the way, is a much better offering. But here we are yet again. Add on one more log to the raging forest fire that Snail and Wildcard have unleashed over the past few weeks with their ASA bundles, and now this absolutely boneheaded move with the announcement of additionally adding on Overwolf to handle cross-platform mod duties. As always, I appreciate your feedback on anything ARC related, especially any direct experiences you've had with Overwolf. Make sure to sound off in the comments section below. If you happen to like the video, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. And while you're at it, ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. You can find and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and over in my open community Discord server, links to all of which can be found in the video description and pinned comments below. A huge shout out to the over 118,000 of you that have taken the leap and hit subscribe, and as always, a massive thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.